My personal approach, it actually depends on the property itself, how much bandwidth I have, and I approach every single project differently. So sometimes I have more time than money, and I'm going to tackle the ordering and the getting of the products and the setup and that piece of it. Other times I have more money than time. And that just depends on that project. And those times when I have more money than I have time, then I'm working with my designer to do a fully turnkey project. I wanted to take a few minutes after chatting with Brianna and Michele on design to walk you guys through my process with that because everybody is different in their business. There are certain things that they love, certain things that they hate. Some things are their strengths and sometimes, they're not. And a common misconception about me and my business is that I design my properties. And it's frankly not the case. I know the look that I like. I give direction. I can pick out individual pieces and antiques that I love and certain curated finds. I've done my entire brand standard. But as far as the actual physical design of the space and coming in and staging everything, I work with the same designer on all of my projects. So yeah, that's out there in the open. People, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Like, I'm happy to give an opinion, but if you're wanting the aesthetic and like a true designer thing, that is just personally not what I do. So I wanted to walk you through kind of my approach to how I go through a property design and setup, how I collaborate with the designer, what parts I do, what parts I don't, and then just give you some encouragement that if design isn't necessarily your thing, there are so many options and ways for you to just elevate a guest experience by outsourcing that. As a general rule of thumb with your business, whether it's design or operations or, just any aspect of it, my goal for you as we are creating a business designed around what you love, find what you love in your business, what lights you up, and then outsource the rest. The beautiful thing about having the systems and the processes and knowing how the intricacies of the business runs is that you are empowered to hand off the pieces that you don't like to somebody else. And that's how we create not only that financial freedom, but that time freedom and a business that can grow and scale without you being your own bottleneck. So my personal approach, it actually depends on the property itself, how much bandwidth I have, and I approach every single project differently. So sometimes I have more time than money, and I'm going to tackle the ordering and the getting of the products and the setup and that piece of it. Other times I have more money than time. And that just depends on that project. And those times when I have more money than I have time, then I'm working with my designer to do a fully turnkey project. But we have the processes in place for me to outsource what I need to and what I don't. So I'm going to walk you through my last project that I work on with our designer. We have, after 11, 12, 14, I can't even remember how many projects we've worked on together, determined a list of the different pieces that are, one, fairly affordable, but two, durable and meet the criteria of what we like in a property. Things like beds that aren't really going to make a huge difference one way or the other. One tip that I want to pass on to you guys is in the theme of beds, we don't ever put upholstery on a beds. We want a solid surface. We like solid wood. And we like a platform bed typically so that we don't have to do the box spring. So we have an entire list of items that we know are tried and true that have been in multiple ones of our properties that no matter what we're kind of going with, they seem to work with our style and aesthetic. That is one of the things that I would highly recommend is having a signature like style and aesthetic, a brand standard. That is something that I curated for all of my spaces is we know that we're going to put the exact same mattress. We use purple mattresses. We put the exact same organic cotton white sheets, as Brianna and I were sharing earlier, only white sheets, the same down comforter, the same duvet cover. All of that is set it and forget it. We know what's going in there. We do the same pots, pans, kitchen items, all of that. part of our brand standard is we always put a record player in there. Brianna was talking about a musical element. We do a record player that has a Bluetooth speaker in it. And then, a fellow kettle, a Smeg toaster, and the same things that people are going to recognize in every single one of my properties. Outside of that, we just have this curated, cozy, found aesthetic that we've become known for regardless of our market. Sure, we'll tweak certain things for different markets, but you can generally pick one of my properties out of a lineup. And with that, we've created a list of just standard pieces that we know can kind of plug and play in any one of our properties. So on our last project, it was an arbitrage unit, meaning that we could long-term lease with the agreement to sublease it out. It was in an apartment complex that I knew did well, especially in our college town. So I said, all right, I've got a little bit more time and I don't want to spend as much money because it's an arbitrage unit. So what I'm going to do is look at my list of things. It's a 1-bedroom kind of small unit. I'm going to pick out a bed from our list. I'm going to pick out a rug that we've used before, nightstands that I've seen my designer use in other spaces. These are the same, kitchen stuff that we've used. And I got all of the things in. I picked out, ordered because I knew it was from my tried and true list. And our team set up all the furniture, got everything going. And then I brought my designer in for 2 or 3 days to collect some antiques to make it feel unique and not like it was just click and ship. He came in, hung the curtains, hung all the art, made sure everything was cohesive and looked like our aesthetic, and placed those found pieces. Took him 2 or 3 days, and he had that thing wrapped up. I set up the kitchen. That's one thing that I always do because I'm really nitpicky and particular about it. But that is how we work together on that project. We've also done things where he has literally done all of the sourcing, the put together furniture, the staging of it, the full setup, just because I had 2 other projects running simultaneously and there was absolutely no way for us to do it ourselves. So I just evaluate it on a case by case basis. Just because you did it one way for one project, and it doesn't mean you have to do that on every single project that you do. That's the beauty of this business, is you can just take it on a case by case basis. So one of the things that I think is the biggest compliment that I get from past guests is when they call us or message us and say, hey, have you opened a property in this location yet? Because I always want to stay at one of your properties. Music to my ears. Thank you so much. But that allows us to, one, increase our brand standard, know where demand is, but it also just lets us know that our brand is easily recognizable, which is, just a beautiful thing. So I wanted to just take a few minutes to give you guys my thoughts and my approach to that. I've had lots and lots of people ask me for my list of that furniture of, just the tried and true pieces that we kind of tend to purchase from when I'm going through a scenario where I want to, just pick the pieces and then have my designer come in. I put together, it's 8 of my properties, all of the furniture, the mood boards, and everything that's associated with it, with some of the tricks from my designer. So if you guys want to grab that for yourselves, I'm going to drop that down in the show notes. But I wish you all the best. Tag me on Instagram. I always love to see your design projects.